The third secret, 1 minute redirects. The next morning, he arrived at John Levy's office at the stroke of 9. He got the usual, he's quite a guy, isn't he, routine, but by now the young man was getting to the point where he could sincerely say, yes, he is. John said he is amazing. He's been around for years, but has moved with the times. He keeps things new and fresh. He has evolved and he's sharper than ever. One of the most remarkable things he does differently now is how he responds to us when we have done something wrong. When you do something wrong, I thought a key motto around here was catch people doing something right. It is, said John, but you need to know I have been working here for a good while and I know this operation inside and out. As a result, my manager doesn't have to spend much time with me on 1 minute goals or praisings. In fact, I usually write out my goals before I meet with him. Then we go over them. Do you write each goal on a separate page? Yes, no longer than a paragraph or two, which takes only about a minute to review. I love my work and I'm good at it. I have learned to give myself praisings. In fact, I believe if you are not for yourself, who is? Then he added, and I am for others too. So doesn't your manager praise you? Sometimes, but he doesn't have to very often because I beat him to the punch. When I do something especially good, I might even ask him for a praising. How would you ever have the nerve to do that? Asked the young man. It's like making a bet where I either win or break even. If he gives me the praising, I win. But if he doesn't, I break even. I didn't have it before I asked. The young man smiled. I like that idea. But what about when something goes wrong? Well, mistakes do happen. If I or someone on my team makes a significant mistake, that's when I may get a 1 minute redirect. A what? A 1 minute redirect. It's the new version of the important third secret. Pleasing people doesn't always work if it isn't combined with redirects to correct mistakes when they occur. While I don't always like someone pointing out my mistakes, a redirect can help me get back on track and achieve my goals. And that helps both me and our organization succeed. Back when we were a top down managed company, this third secret was called the 1 minute reprimand, which was remarkably effective for its time. But the new 1 minute manager adapted it when things changed. Adapted it. Yes, today we need to get more done sooner with fewer resources, and people want to find more satisfaction and value in their work. Now, everybody needs to be a learner because things are changing so much. Even if I am an expert, the next day my area might be eliminated. A 1 minute redirect helps me learn because it can let me see what I need to do differently. The visitor asked, how does it work? It's simple. I figured you would say that. John laughed and continued, if I make a mistake, my manager is quick to respond. What does he do? First, he makes sure he has made the goal we have set clear. If it isn't, he takes responsibility for that and clarifies the goal. Then, he provides me with a 1 minute redirect in two parts. In the first half, he focuses on my mistake. In the second half, he focuses on me. So, when does he do this? As soon as he becomes aware of the mistake, he confirms the facts with me and we review what's gone wrong. He is very specific. Then he tells me how he feels about the mistake and its possible impact on our results, sometimes in no uncertain terms. After he tells me how he feels, he is quiet for a few seconds to let it sink in. That quiet pause turns out to be surprisingly important. Why? Because a quiet moment gives me time to feel concerned about my mistake and think about the impact it might have on me and the organization. How long is he quiet? Only a few seconds, but sometimes it seems longer when you are on the receiving end. John continued, In the second part of the redirect, he reminds me that I am better than my mistake and that he has confidence and trust in me. He says he doesn't expect a repeat of that mistake and looks forward to working with me. It sounds to me that the redirect makes you think twice about what you have done. John nodded. It does. Could you tell me more about the key parts of using a 1 minute redirect? Sure. He specifies exactly what went wrong so I know that he is on top of things and that he doesn't want me or my team to be known for poor or mediocre work. Since he ends the redirect by reaffirming that he values me and my team, it is easier for me not to react negatively and become defensive. I don't try to rationalize away my mistake by fixing blame on somebody else. Of course, it helps to know that he will take responsibility if a goal isn't clear to anyone. Because of that, I know he is being fair. The redirect only takes about a minute, and when it's over. But you remember it, and since it ends in a supportive way, you want to get back on track. I know what you are talking about, the young man said. I am afraid I asked him. John interrupted. I hope you didn't ask him to make a decision for you. The young man was embarrassed. I did. John chuckled. Then you know a little bit about what it's like to be on the receiving end of a 1 minute redirect. Although I suspect you got a mild one. Around here, we are aware that if you are new to our company's culture but you need a redirect, it should be a mild one so you don't get discouraged. Our goal is to build confidence in people to help us get better results. It may have been a mild one, the young man said, but I don't think I will ask him to make a decision for me again. Then he asked, does he ever make a mistake? He seems almost too perfect. John laughed. Of course, he makes mistakes. He is human, but he is the first to acknowledge it. In fact, he even encourages us to speak up if we notice he may be mistaken about something. It doesn't happen often, but he says it helps him prevent an error he might make in the future. It's one of the many reasons we like working with him. He can be gruff sometimes, but he has a good sense of humor, and that helps. For example, he's really good at catching a mistake I have made, but sometimes he forgets to give me the second half of the redirect, the part where he thinks well of you as a person. Yes, when he forgets, I point it out to him and kid him about it. You really do that? Well, I might first take some time to understand what I did wrong and think about what I need to change. Just the other day, I phoned him to say I knew I was wrong and wouldn't let it happen again. Then I laughed and said, I would really like to get the reaffirming part of the redirect, which he forgot to do, so I could feel better. And what did he do? He laughed, then apologized and said he meant to say he still has confidence and trust in me. When we hung up, I did feel better. That amazes me, the young man said. Yes, when he keeps his sense of humor, it helps him and everyone around him. He has taught us to laugh at ourselves when we make a mistake and get over it by doing better work. Wow. So, how did you learn to do that? By watching him do it. The young man was beginning to realize how valuable such a manager could be. I noticed the third secret continues a pattern in this 1 minute system of leading and managing. Goals make clear what is most important to focus on, praisings build confidence that helps you succeed, and redirects address mistakes. And all three of these help people feel better about themselves and produce good results. Why does using a combination of goals, praisings, and redirects works so well? I will let you ask our new 1 minute manager that, John said as he rose from his chair and walked him to the door. The young man thanked him for his time. John smiled. You already know what my response to the subject of time is going to be. They both laughed. The young man was beginning to feel like an insider rather than a visitor, and it felt good. As soon as he was in the hall, the young man realized how much information John had given him in the little time they had spent together. He made notes to remind himself how to use a 1 minute redirect when he person has made a mistake. So the no 1 minute redirects summary. If the goal is clear, then a 1 minute redirect works very well. When you, firstly, redirect people as soon as possible, then confirm the facts first and review the mistakes together by being specific and express how you feel about the mistake and its impact on results. Then take a pause. After that, be quiet for a moment to allow people time to feel concerned about what they have done. And in the second half of the minute, remember to let them know that they are better than their mistake and that you think well of them as a person. Remind them that you have confidence and trust in them and support their success. Realize that when the redirect is over, it is over. The young man may not have believed in the effectiveness of the 1 minute redirect if he hadn't personally experienced its effect. Even though he knew he got a mild one, he also knew he did not look forward to another one. However, everyone makes mistakes, and he knew if he ever worked for such a manager and made a major mistake, he probably would get a much stronger redirect. But it didn't worry him. He knew it would be fair. As he headed back toward the manager's office, he kept thinking about the surprising power of 1 minute management and how it had been improved for a changing world. All three of the secrets seemed to make sense, but why do they work? He wondered. And why is the new 1 minute manager still the most productive and admired manager in the company?